Today, we're diving into a really profound topic: what the ideal image of a father should look like in today's world, especially in a society that has seen so much change in family roles over time.
Absolutely. It's fascinating because men in their 50s today, especially in Korea, have worked so hard throughout their lives to secure social stability, but now they find themselves disconnected at home. Their kids are grown and independent, and it's left many fathers feeling alienated. So, what does the ideal father figure look like now?
It's tough, right? Traditionally, men were seen as the breadwinners, the ones out there working hard to provide for the family. In Korea, post World War II, men had to rebuild the nation. They were out there constructing the future while women were primarily handling domestic duties. And that worked, at least for a while.
Yeah, there was a clear division of roles back then. Men did the outside work, and women stayed home, raising kids, cooking, and doing household chores. But now, that model is outdated. With society changing, the roles have blurred and both sides need to adjust.
Exactly. And now that the primary work is essentially done, men have helped build the infrastructures and the economy. The secondary work should come into play. But that's where things start to get murky. Men don't really know what their next role is, and women have largely been left out of the equation in terms of contributing to that secondary phase.
So, you're saying that the ideal image of a man, in a way, hasn't evolved yet because the secondary work, what comes after all the foundational stuff, is still not defined?
Yes, the ideal image for men hasn't emerged because there hasn't been a clear secondary role. It's like they've reached the top of one mountain, but now they're standing there, not knowing which path to take next.
And the problem is, women haven't been preparing to step into that role of support either. If they had been, we might have seen more balance where women help guide society in the next phase. But instead, women have largely stayed focused on traditional roles.
Right? So now we see many female CEOs entering the workforce. And it's great in some ways because it shows that women are stepping up. But these women aren't necessarily prepared for the kind of leadership that's needed in these positions. They've entered the corporate world, but they haven't had the same experiences men have had.
It's like they're playing catch up. In a way, the CEOs are more about gaining favor, looking polished, and charming the public with their charisma. But at the end of the day, that's not enough to solve deep societal problems.
Yes, exactly. Women can't just succeed by playing the game of being charismatic or attractive. The real challenge lies in finding a balance. And it's not enough to just fill the role of CEO. Women need to step up and define their own ideal image, not just replicate what men have done.
And that's where the whole mother image comes into play. The ideal image of a woman should be a mother to the people, feeling deeply for the suffering of others, just like a mother feels for her children. If women step into that nurturing yet powerful role, they can make significant societal changes. But right now, that role is still undefined for women.
So, do you think that this lack of a clear, ideal image for women is why we see such a rise in female CEOs, but also a potential failure rate down the line?
Exactly. The rise of female CEOs is not necessarily a sign that women are ready to lead. It's more a sign of women trying to prove themselves in a system that wasn't designed for them. The problem is, these women, despite their success, might eventually face resistance from male counterparts who haven't fully accepted them in those roles.
And that's where the issue with male and female roles starts to surface. As more women enter leadership positions, men may start feeling displaced, unsure of their own roles. They might start resenting the success of women, which is why it's so important for women to not just compete, but truly redefine their roles.
It's almost like the question becomes, what happens when women step into leadership but don't fully understand what they're stepping into? If they don't solve societal problems or address the deeper needs, it's just a temporary shift, not a long-term solution.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because when women finally step out into society to fix these problems, it's still unclear how they'll make a meaningful impact. That's the missing piece: the ability to create projects that benefit everyone. It's about collaboration and focusing on the greater good, not just individual success.
So, do you think women need to do a better job of organizing, of finding their collective power to truly contribute to the next phase of societal development?
Absolutely. Women need to come together, create initiatives, and bring their collective knowledge to solve real-world problems. The power is there. It's just not being harnessed properly yet. Once that happens, both men and women will have roles that complement each other, and that's when we'll see the ideal images of fathers and mothers emerge.
And when that happens, the family dynamic and even society as a whole will be in a much better place, right?
Exactly. It's all about finding balance. Once women step into their rightful role, men will know what their next steps are, and the ideal images of father and mother will no longer be a question.
It's a journey that requires both reflection and action. I'm really curious to see where it all leads.
So am I. And I think this conversation is just the beginning of a much needed shift in perspective.
Absolutely. Let's keep watching, and hopefully, this shift will lead to a more harmonious balance between men and women.
And a better society for everyone in the process. To be continued.